Sit. Show everyone you can sit like a lady. Sit. Good job. Oh, that's a lot of weight. Hold on. This is hard to do one-handed. Here we go. Here, Murphy. Hold on. Let's see. There we go. There you guys go. Having a little great party. Got Murphy, Sophia, Maggie, and Howie, but no grapes for Maggie. Nice try, Howie. Howie's gonna try to take it right off my lap. Howie, come on. Howie. You? No. Howie. Here you go, sir. Take it and go. Maggie, no. No grapes. Grapes are toxic to dogs, so have to keep an eye that Maggie doesn't eat me, but she's just honestly waiting for animal crackers. That was the whole bag now, guys. All gone. Let's see who's in here. Got Cheerios. What you doing, pretty girl? Are you making a bed? Are you making a bed in there? You're making quite the bed. What you digging for? So I figured I would come on here and do this week's Q&A live again. That seemed to work out really well. The pigs are enjoying the cooler temperatures. If you come and stalk me, I don't have anything left. It's all gone. It's all gone. You ate like 50 million grapes. You want to roll over with your belly then? I'm surprised Lisa didn't crash the party, huh? So I only really had 2 questions. Maybe I should turn the camera around. Okay, so I only really had 2 questions this week for the Q&A, and the first question was, how much room do pigs need? Are we at max capacity right now? So we are definitely at max capacity. As far as how much room do pigs need, that answer depends on who you ask. I will tell you that when we started doing our research for building our facilities, because our property was just raw land when we started rescuing pigs. We didn't really know what facilities we needed, and Dan and I both have experience in managing dog and cat shelters, but we don't have experience in running a pig rescue when we started, right? So we reached out to Ross Mill Farm and found out that when they have pigs for adoption, they house them in pairs in group pens of 2 pigs that are like 32 feet by 32 feet as a square. So I'm drawing a blank on the square footage of that, but it's not a huge space, and it's meant to only be really temporary with a high adoption rate. But that is a little complicated when there are far more pigs for adoption than there are qualified homes for them. So we don't have a lot of small pens that are that 32 by 32 foot measurement. Lucy and Ricky are in a group together because they're very bonded, and Lucy is kind of handicapped due to her obesity. She's on a diet, and Ricky's very protective of her. Hey, goodness! Cheerios! She just bit Althea's tail. So, Lucy and Ricky are by themselves, and then we have Samuel and Sweetheart. They're in their own pen together. And we kept them separated from integrating them into a bigger herd because they are for adoption, and we were really hoping to find them homes rather quickly. We had a nice surge in adoptions in April, and then things have just kind of fizzled out a little bit. So I don't have a perfect answer for how much room do pigs need. I can tell you we are at max capacity, and we make sure that everybody is getting along well. And despite Althea screaming and Cheerios just biting her in the butt, that was out of jealousy, not because they're too close together. I'm actually going to turn it around. So I've got Lisa Simpson here, and you can see the pigs kind of have, in this group, the barnyard to just kind of move around as they please. Our property is really long and narrow versus wide, so we have just a long tract of pigs, and they all seem to go really well together. But when adopters reach out to me and ask, how much land do I need, they really recommend a minimum of, a quarter of an acre to half an acre. Pigs don't take up, pet pigs or potbelly pigs don't take up a huge amount of pasture or land. Of course, the more land they can have to root around and enjoy, the better. But I found that most of them, once they get past the toddler stage, are fairly low maintenance and laid back and aren't going to travel all over. And that's more of your potbelly type pig. Now, coonies or larger breed pigs definitely need more room and to travel around. But I think that if your HOA approves of it and you're properly zoned, that people, it's not unreasonable for them to live like in a subdivision or have a regular sized residential yard. You don't need acres upon acres of land for 1 to 2 pigs. So that was kind of the first question. I hope I answered it well. I really tried to find some guidelines, but there's all sorts of different answers varying from a smaller amount of space up to something like 2 pigs per acre, and I don't think that's accurate for today's pet pig. So then the second question that we had was, when we have pigs that are for adoption, do we screen adopters, or what is the adoption process like? So we absolutely screen adopters. I would say that as much as we want to find pigs as forever homes, we do not get a lot of applications that are approved. We try to make sure that people have the adequate fencing. That's the number one safety thing, is you have to have a good fence to keep your pig in and to keep predators out. So we have a questionnaire or an adoption application that adopters submit, and it asks them kind of what their day-to-day life is like. Do they work from home? Do they work outside of the home? How many pets do they have? How many people live in the home? Who's going to be responsible for taking care of the pig? Will the pig be in a home with dogs? And if so, will the dogs and the pig have separate spaces and be kept apart? Because we really do not recommend pigs going to homes where they will be unsupervised with dogs, and unless I'm really, really comfortable with the dogs, I really don't condone dogs and pigs together. Our dogs are kept separate. You'll see Maggie or Snowball or Handsome around, our dogs, but they are never left unsupervised. Excuse me. You'll see our dogs around our pigs, but they're never left unsupervised, and that's 3 of our 13 dogs that we allow to be around the pigs. So it's definitely, I guess some people have called our application process rigorous, but our number one priority is placing that pig in a forever home, not in a situation that's going to lead to a failed adoption that could traumatize the pig emotionally or physically. And we get a lot of applications. You'd be surprised. People fill them out and they've really not done their research. I mean, they'll submit an application and they do not have a fence, they don't have a shelter, they don't live in an area that is zoned to have pet pigs. We've actually had active duty military members apply to keep a pig on base, and we call and verify if someone lives, and has a landlord situation, which we don't typically adopt to renters, but I've had to call an Air Force base and ask, are pigs allowed, and they're like, absolutely not. So people will apply, and I don't think they've really thought it out much. So finding a qualified adopter is really hard. That's why there's so many pigs here at Outsiders, right? I mean, people get them. They don't do their research. They don't know what they're getting into. They're not allowed to have them. People just don't use their brains sometimes. And that's why there's so many pigs here. And we will never force a pig into a home that is not 100% perfect for them. So, there's hundreds of pet pigs here, and I would say at least half of them are great adoption candidates. It's just finding the right people for them. And we've gotten some remarks lately about with donations being down and not sure, how we're going to pay our bills from week to week. We've had people say, well, you just need to downsize. You need to rehome them. Our number one commitment and priority is to the pigs and what is best for them. We know here that they're getting the medical care that they need. They're getting the proper nutrition. They're getting fresh, clean water. They have shelter. They have predator-proof fencing. They really all are getting their needs met. And we serve a real purpose here in Georgia. There's 350 pigs here, but I can tell you that's a drop in the bucket to pigs in need in the Southeast. So, hello Stanley and Lucy. So that's why we're passionate about advocating for the pigs here at Outsiders and not giving up. And it's kind of winding down for the evening. I'm going to get up and see who's out here. What are you doing, Stan? But yeah, so to answer the adoption question, we have an adoption application, we vet that adoption application, we check references, we check zoning, and, if the person's not a right fit, sorry, but we've got to put the pigs first. What? Lisa, are you chewing on some straw? Are you chewing on some straw? Howie. So everybody, I hope I don't lose service. I'm going to try to walk out here to the main area. We've been using this straw for mud control. I wonder if I can, I'm going to try to go in here, but I might lose service. So we'll try. You stay here, Snowy. Okay. I still have service. Good job. What you guys doing? Everyone's just hanging out. It's really, really nice to be in, 80s and not high 90s. We even have a slight breeze. We feel so lucky. But, yeah. The cove that we posted on Patreon, they're back behind that gray barn towards the trees. But, so we were spreading this old straw down to help fill in the really soggy areas. And the pigs are loving rooting through it, and the chickens are scratching through it. What are you doing? So these guys are some of our Upson hoarding case pigs. They're shy. I'm working every day on earning their trust. They're curious. They come around for food, but it's a very long, drawn-out process of gaining their trust. And I would say that 95% of the pigs that have come here have not been socialized. So when we took in the hoarding case and when we took in so many pigs before the pandemic really hit, we needed volunteers for socialization, but people didn't want to come and volunteer because of COVID. So the pigs are really used to us as a family. This is why we encourage people to come visit and spend time here, because the more people that the pigs are exposed to, the more social they become. But we had ordered our Pan Pinto sling for me to be able to do hoof trims a little bit more easily on my own. And it's been quite a challenge. It's not as simple as running them into a chute like you might see with the Zen Pro used at like Ziggy's or Audie and Inn or at Heath's. You actually have to get the pig's feet into the sling holes and then start manually cranking them up. And it's a really lovely piece of equipment, but for pigs that are afraid of it or not used to it, we really have to have their cooperation for it to work. So we're currently in the process of building stalls in the green barn over here and working to get the pigs more comfortable inside of the stalls so that when they are kind of closed in or when we're working with them, it's not going to make them so anxious. And it's a slow process, but we're getting there, and I'm super proud of these guys. This is an Upson piggy too, who you couldn't touch when she got here. Yeah, you were a wild one, huh? That was so crazy. But now, she comes right up to me. And it's super rewarding to have their trust. Yeah. You want a belly rub? Should we show them how good you are for a belly rub? That you feel safe? There you go. What a good girl. I hope you guys can see this. So she pops her belly rub for me. I know the sun is really bright. Yeah. You're a good girl. Yeah. You can tag. You got Lefty Bird on your nose. I don't know if you guys can hear the geese going crazy. Dan's out feeding the big pigs and the cows. But, okay. Well, I don't want to get this going for too long, but kind of just rambling to myself. But I hope you guys enjoyed the Q&A. And thank you for watching and supporting us. And please leave your questions for next week in the comments below.